is going to talk about how to... I will finish my sentence. Who is... No, please, before me. So, who is going to speak about and talk about how to actually reinvent organic user acquisition? The floor is yours.
Thank you. How's it going, everybody? So, I did karaoke singing really late last night, so I hope the voice kind of performs. Clearly the most responsible thing to do right before a big presentation. So I flew in from Texas, and I'm really stoked to be here. I love Estonia. I used to work for an Estonian startup called ConversionXL, but I mostly love this place because in Tallinn, there is a very, very authentic Texas-themed bar. It's fantastic. If you ever get a chance to check it out. So we're going to talk about marketing today, in particular organic user acquisition and a strategy that we've developed at HubSpot to pull product users and customers from content and SEO, which is kind of one of our main acquisition channels. But first, I want to talk about books. So who here has read Sapiens? Everybody's heard of it though, right? It's a pretty buzzworthy book, especially in the tech space. So I'm kind of always in the market for a book, right? Whether implicitly or explicitly, I'm always looking for a recommendation. So I'm going to show you a hypothetical customer journey to how I came to read Sapiens. So let's say I ask for a recommendation from a friend. Let's say Mary tells me you should read Sapiens. Now that's just one recommendation, so I went from 0 to 1. Now I understand that there's a book called Sapiens, but there's many books on the market. So I might check it out, I might not, at least it's on my radar, but it's still pretty low probability. Now I ask other friends, and eventually it starts to accumulate. Several people say you should read Sapiens, you should read Sapiens, you should read Sapiens. This should sound familiar. This is exactly what happened over the last couple of years, it feels like. And eventually it hits this tipping point where you're like, what the hell is this book that everybody's talking about, Sapiens? And you either go to the Amazon landing page and check it out, you look at the testimonials on the back of the book, but you're interested enough where now it's on your radar and it's in your market. And this could happen through a variety of means. It doesn't have to be your friends. Oftentimes it's podcasts nowadays. It could be listicles, New York Times book reviews, etc., etc. The point is, we hear recommendations from a variety of sources, and that puts something on our radar, and it makes us intrigued, curious to try it out. Long story short, I bought the book, I read it, it was fantastic, but the crazy part is simultaneously my roommate bought the book the day after me. So we both actually went through the same process, kind of through the customer journey of the same friend group. Everybody told us to read the book. It was years before we both decided to pull the trigger. And we both did it at the same time, so it was kind of weird, and we talked about it. We're like, why'd you buy the book? And we found out it was the same actual last referral. It was my old boss at ConversionXL, who grew up in Tartu, fun fact. But he posted this on Facebook, and several people I know actually bought based on this. So it shows the power of word of mouth, because we went through a real-life customer journey and got to view it in real time. Super cool. So to zoom out a little bit, back towards some staple marketing wisdom, these facts, these foundations that underpin most of what we do in marketing. We know that people comparison shop. In fact, on average, they visit 3 websites before they visit yours or make a purchase. But counterintuitively, the people that search more and compare more are actually worth more money. So as much as we wish it, people look at other sites before they look at yours. So search engine optimization and other channels should actually include other sites, right? And then this is an advertising wisdom from way back in the day. So the more times somebody hears an ad or sees an ad, the more likely it is to register with them, and the more likely they are to actually check out the product. This is something that we've known for years. In fact, advertisers look at reach and frequency when they're buying ads. Reach is who we target and how many. Frequency is how much the person hears about it. That hasn't really translated to the digital world, though. We don't really think about that in terms of SEO. We really think about like one touch point, maybe. So here we can define the surround sound strategy in the broadest possible manner as being the more times somebody hears about your product from different sources, the more likely they're going to take it seriously as something to check out. So on a blank slate, it's a very, very simple framework. The more times somebody hears something, the more likely they are to purchase from you. And we can see this in the software space, which is where I operate, in B2B SaaS. So a search query on Google, when somebody says best live chat software, it's essentially saying, I need a live chat software tool. And when everybody says you should try HubSpot, it's pretty likely they're at least going to end up on our website. Somebody says, I need a meeting scheduler app. everybody says you should try HubSpot. You're going to try HubSpot. It's just logical. I need an email marketing tool. Several friends tell you to try HubSpot. If they're trustworthy, if they're trustworthy sources, you're going to at least try it out. So in our particular context at HubSpot, this is how we're defining the surround sound strategy. We find and appear, favorably of course, in all meaningful places, in our case search results, because we're HubSpot and have SEO as one of our main channels, that influence a potential customer in their decision-making process. That's cool. Theory, how do we implement it? So first off, we need to discuss the customer journey, which generally speaking ranges from high-level, problem-aware awareness stage, all the way down to the decision level when somebody actually pulls the trigger and decides between a competitor or you. Awareness stage goals typically revolve around building interest, building awareness, building links, kind of building up demand, drumming up some interest for whatever you're selling. And of course, the decision consideration stage is there to capture that demand you've created through your content and ads and more awareness level campaigns. And I look at it on the spectrum, so like the awareness level is going to be higher traffic and lower intent. They're going to be less likely to purchase from you at that point, but they may like to sign up for an email list or an ebook or something. But those bottom funnel, low traffic, high intent terms are often ignored because they're very low traffic. So SEOs are like 500 search results or search volume. We can't go after that. But those 500 people are ready to buy a product, so it's very important to appear at these places. So that's where we focus. That's the surround sound strategy, appearing in all those places in the low traffic, high intent stage, consideration or decision level. For us, in B2B strategy, could be different if you're in B2C, we really rely on three things: product pages, review sites, and listicles. Why? Because every single search term that's transactional nowadays has those same results. You'll see it everywhere. This is lead generation software, so you have review sites like G2 Crowd, listicles from everybody can read a listicle, and product pages. So if you have a lot of brand awareness like MailChimp or somebody, you can rank your product page. This is the same thing with live chat software, on and on. Every search result looks like this nowadays. And we can even like map it out. This is what we do at HubSpot. In fact, we have so many products that we actually try to map this out everywhere. So one by one, let's go through and talk about how HubSpot and how you could possibly rank for these as well and appear on these in transactional search terms. So product pages, I'm going to breeze through this. This is a very, very complicated topic, the content strategy aspect. I'll talk about it tomorrow in a workshop that I'm doing if you're interested. But basically, to rank a product page, you have to have a content marketing strategy that's robust, external link building, internal links and site architecture, and on-site SEO. Things like title tags, copy, just good architecture and good best practices. And I'll walk through a little bit of an example, but like I said, I gotta burn through this part because it's kind of a deep topic. So this is how we structure it. We start with a product page in the center. So if we want to rank a page called customer feedback software, we go out from there and we think about what kind of pillar pages, which would be like ultimate guides and like kind of huge topics that are tough to rank for, but like if we write a 10,000 word guide, we might be able to. And then cluster content is related topics that hit long tail keywords that are very specific search terms, less traffic but topically related. And then we link all of them together to show Google that it's all related. So a quick case study, when I started at HubSpot in 2017, we wanted to rank a new product that we were developing for our service hub, customer feedback software, and we weren't anywhere in the top 500. 6 months later, we were ranking everything, but most importantly, the product page. So we were outranking competitors that have been in the market for years. We didn't even have a product out, so that was fantastic. But we also did the pillar page. So this is a huge 5,000, 6,000 word guide that we put together. It's very difficult, but like once you put that much effort into a piece of content, it's hard not to rank. Cluster blog posts, so these are the long tail things, 500 to 1,500 word blog posts, but they're all thematically related to our product. Listicles are really the meat of this surround sound strategy because it's where a lot of like content is being created nowadays and a lot of customers want to review different products before they actually end up on your website. Everybody knows what a listicle is. It's this kind of cheap garbage piece of content that anybody can create, and it's a top 10 blah blah blah. And Paul Graham actually has a funny way of putting this. He calls them the cheeseburgers of the content world because they are easy to create, and essentially like if you go to a restaurant that you suspect is bad, a cheeseburger is a good bet because there's strict kind of guidelines for what a cheeseburger looks like. The chef's not going to try anything crazy and you're probably like well off. So in essence in content that means they're cheap to create and they're good for readers because they know the format, so we can replicate and scale these very easily. And they're important for us as marketers because this is where the search results are going. Whenever you search best form builder or best marketing software or whatever, it's all listables nowadays. So appearing on these is super important. Now our strategies, and some you can replicate as well, are to get added on existing ranking listables and write your own, and write new ones for other blogs, which is a kind of hack if you don't have a domain authority that HubSpot has. So getting added to existing listables, if you paid attention during the pitching journalist, this is kind of a skill in art form that we actually haven't mastered at HubSpot yet, something we're working on, but there's stuff ranking on the top page and you can appear in it. If you can cajole or buy or persuade your way for the editor to let you have your product on there, it's magic. We write new listables because HubSpot's built up quite a content pipeline and an engine where we can rank these pretty quickly. But if you're a startup and you don't have a lot of content or ability to rank pages quickly, you can partner with another site. Everybody loves free content. Everybody loves traffic, so you can promise them you'll get X traffic per month. We'll write the post for you as long as we can appear on it. So that's something we've worked on too with this company Formissimo. The goal is to get on all the lists. So when somebody searches best form builder, we appear. And I've said that they're like cheeseburgers and that they're easy to create, but they're also, they convert like a product page, so it's kind of like free lunch. We get something for nothing because they're very cheap to create and cheap to rank, unlike product pages which take years to do so. Finally, the last piece is review sites. So reviews are more critical to the decision phase once somebody's got a landscape of products they're comparing from, and it's that last little nudge that pushes somebody in your favor versus the competitor. What would you choose? Oscar's Mexican Food or El Toro in San Diego? Oscar's has way more reviews, probably go with that one. Similar apartments on Airbnb, one has 150 5-star reviews, the other a couple 3.5 stars. Loom versus QSnap, they're the same product, they're both free. One has like 7,000 5-star reviews. These are obvious answers, but the point is we all use reviews. We all want to know how others experience the product or service or restaurant before we do. It's just human nature. We want to know that others have had a good experience too. So very quickly, the 5 kind of review sites that we look at: software comparison sites, blog reviews, comparison content, and kind of social listening, forum listening. This is probably the most important piece. In the software space, everybody takes these very seriously nowadays. Could be Yelp if you're a restaurant, could be Thumbtack if you're a contractor, but basically these aggregator sites. Blog reviews and testimonials, if somebody's choosing between Marketo and HubSpot, this could push them over the edge. And we sometimes create our own comparison content too, which is a big tactic nowadays, because we want to outrank the G2 crowds and whatever for their same keywords that they're doing. And then the last piece is kind of like the forum monitoring and social monitoring. So if people are talking about you on different networks, then we want to appear in those places favorably. Reviews are absolutely critical to the customer journey. They push somebody over the edge from like considering to deciding to go with you over a competitor. 3-pronged approach to being everywhere. This is the summary. Rank our product page, be included on all listicles, be on all review sites. So when somebody says, I need live chat software, we appear everywhere, and it's like a chorus, an ensemble, or one would say a surround sound effect. And somebody's pretty probabilistically going to check us out or purchase. For y'all, it could be different. B2B SaaS is one thing, but this is industry agnostic. Research your buyer's journey. Find where customers are actually making those decisions and where those kind of places you can appear are, and find a way to get there. One last thing, if none of this was pragmatic, I have one last suggestion. This is a good takeaway. Read Sapiens, because it's very, very good. Thank you.
I'm dragging you back here in the center. I do have a question, sorry, though.
Of course.
So, before I give you that. And the question is, rather, I want to get your personal perspective, because you've been doing or working for acquiring customers or users in a startup, and now you're working on the same, aim and the purpose in HubSpot. Are there any fundamental differences between, in this huge organization that HubSpot is versus a regular startup?
Yeah, so in a startup you have less resources, of course, but I always look at like strengths and weaknesses and where you can compete. And HubSpot has resources. We have a team of writers and a domain authority, just kind of like our ability to rank pages on our website in SEO terms. So anytime we write a listicle, we can pretty much rank for it, whereas startups don't have that ability. Now, startups can be scrappier, they can try more creative things, they can build kind of growth hackery type solutions. And when I was at Lawn Starter, we did the same kind of overall strategy where we mapped out where people were looking. Lawn Starter is an app that it's like Uber for lawn care. So when somebody wants their lawn mowed, they search lawn mowing in Austin. So we would look at those same places, but we had to kind of compete in different ways. We couldn't just write content that would immediately rank for those terms. So it was a lot of partnerships, some scraping and stuff that maybe I don't talk about. Yeah, scrappy stuff, startup stuff.
Startups are scrappy.
I would say just find that edge that you can compete on and nobody else can, and exploit that as much as you can.
That's a good advice. Thank you, Alex.
Thank you.